So I wanted to ask about what learning Japanese is, not learning Japanese, what learning English is like while you're in school in Japan. So in the UK, I'm not sure how it is for kids these days. I think you do one language in primary school, and then you continue to do one or maybe two in secondary school. When I was in school, I did two languages for 5 years each. And I think I got a B actually in both languages, but like I remember none of it. I did not learn anything in those language classes, and I think we might get onto this a bit later. But something that really impressed me when you and the other exchange students visited England was like even the worst of you at English was still far better than I have ever been at any of the languages I learnt in school. So I wanted to ask a few questions about what learning English is like, and if you learn any other languages as well. So one of the biggest weaknesses I think with English students is that when we get told to learn another language, we don't see the point, because we have this idea that everyone everywhere speaks English, so why should we bother learning anything else?
Exactly,
Which I don't think is quite as true in Japan. But what is the kind of view of language learning when you're in school? Do you kind of see, oh yeah, this is something that's important, even if you don't enjoy it, or what's it like for students?
Yeah, we learn English because we think the English is kind of like standard language. So we start learning from elementary school, I think.
Yeah,
like 5th grade or 6th grade we started. And
so how old would you have been?
I don't know, maybe since 6 or
7. Yeah, 7 or 8, I think. 7 is 5th grade and 8 is 6th grade. So we've been learning about 12 years. But more than 12 years.
Do you only learn English, or are there opportunities to learn like Chinese or Korean? Or
we have we have to learn the third language. So English is our second language, and Japanese is obviously native language. The third one we have to learn in a university. In a university education program, you have to take some grade.
Really, you have to have a third language?
Yeah.
When we were in a university, we have to study third language.
Yeah.
But if you don't, in a university, people just learn two languages, Japanese.
I think it's quite normally it happens in Japanese university, I think, for Japanese university students.
Do you keep learning English as well? So you go to university, you do your main subject, and then you also do English, and you also do a third language.
Yeah.
You stop learning English?
Yeah,
really?
exactly.
Not stop learning. Yeah, we keep learning the English.
So how many years total would that be for you then? Like 12 years of English learning?
Sorry, what is that? How many years?
15 years.
Yeah, how many years total? 15 years of English. Bloody hell.
15 years.
15,
Here's me thinking I can learn Japanese in like 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also there's some point for process or way of learning English in Japan, because like, for example, the way of learning English in Japan is like just write and read, and that's it. We are not speaking. We don't have time to speak a lot, so we just we can read and write. But when we were taught with foreigners, like native English speaker, we were just, we can't. Some people can't speak even if they can read and write. That's the point of Japanese learning system.
I think it's literally quite big problem for Japanese education of English. So we never speak it. We never like make a conversation or communication with in English or someone. So I think it's like we need to some like solve this problem because almost all Japanese students can't speak English or like can be blamed for speaking English. Like, so yeah, we have some shameless, I think. Yeah, so I think first month when I was in the UK, I think I still had a quite like shame for speaking English. Like,
yeah.
I remember actually when you were here, I think we'd gone out drinking one night, and you shouted at me because every time I spoke to you, I was slowing down how fast I spoke. And you were like, "Oh, you don't need to slow down. I can understand." And I was like, "Oh, okay." It's not that I'm trying to be patronizing. It's just that I'm trying to pick simple words, so I need to slow down.
Yeah, so
like, no, I understand everything.
Yeah, so especially for me, before I went to the UK, I couldn't speak any English word at all. Like, I only know about a word like apple, banana, or something. So I couldn't make any, even a
This is
sentence.
a pen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I have it like quite afforded to speak English in the UK, I think. Yeah, so yeah.
Did either of you have a native English speaker in your classes?
Yeah.
We. You mean, do we have any teacher like native speaker?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, when I was in elementary school, there was native English speakers.
Do you remember their name?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Yeah. But even if there's a native speaker, we don't have any.
Yeah.
We have some conversation, but not a lot. Mainly, they just.
Yeah, we literally don't have any time or opportunity to speak with them.
Yeah, just like native speaker, just pronounce the word in a sentence. That's it. We don't have didn't have conversations. Yeah. So that was yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, right? Even you want to learn some like language in the world, you never speak it. So that's why I think Japanese people can't speak English at all.
In English classes, in English French classes and English German classes, we never had a native speaker. It was always a English person who had a degree in that language, so they could speak it perfectly well. But it wasn't the same as having a native speaker in the class. I think my French class in the final year of high school had an actual French student who had, they'd moved from France, and he ended up being just like the teacher's fact checker. So like 5 times a lesson, the teacher would be like, da 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 da, and then the French person would be like, actually, that's wrong. Kind of makes you worry a bit for the quality of it. We had so that the high school I went to, I don't know if this is something that's done anymore, but when I was in school, high schools had to have a specialty subject. So each high school would have its own specialty. My high school was language, which nobody at school liked because it meant that we all had to do 2 languages, whereas people at the other high schools nearby only had to do 1. So it was like, oh, what a pain. So we were a specialist language college, is what they would say. But something on top of that, as well as doing 2 GCSEs, is there were a few chances to do extra languages. So if you didn't like French or German, you could do Spanish instead. And then there would be special kind of like one-off weeks where we would have a guest teacher come in and teach us another language. So we had 1 week where we were taught Chinese by a very nice little lady. But even then, like, she was a native Chinese speaker, but her English wasn't very good. So
that's the
I
problem.
think the very first thing that she said to this class of, I think I was in year 9, so I would have been like 14 or 15. So the class of 14, 15-year-olds, she comes in and she has a PowerPoint, big picture of China on it. And she says, do you know what we tell children in China what China looks like? what animal does it look like? And we look at this, this picture on the map, and it just looks like China. It's a random shape, like all countries are a random shape, really. Like some people say, Italy kind of looks like a boot. Looks like a shoe. England looks like a witch riding a pig.
Really? Oh,
yeah. I'll show you later. It looks like a witch riding a pig.
That's funny.
Anyway, so she shows us China. And says, can anyone guess what it looks like? We none of us have any idea.
Yeah.
And then she says to us, we say it looks like a cock. Like, what? Just a cock. And this entire class are just trying really hard not to laugh at this woman. Like, we're all in tears. Eventually somebody breaks. Everyone starts laughing. The poor German teacher had to come over to this Chinese lady and say, miss, you mean a cockerel? So you have a chicken, and then you have a cockerel, which is like the male chicken. I don't know what the Japanese word for it would be. But you can call a cockerel, in short, a cock. In fact, that's probably where the rude word comes from, because the cockerel is the one that, has all the female chickens. So probably something. So you both had an English-speaking teacher in elementary school. Did you have one in high school as well?
Yeah, well, they're Japanese.
Yeah, they were Japanese. We had an English speaker only in elementary school.
And remember, like Japanese English teacher, I think 80 or more than 80% of Japanese English teacher can't speak any English word at all.
Yeah.
Is it the case where they just read from a textbook and then?
Yeah. Just read Japanese English accent, like Jordan or something. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's not good for learning something English. Yeah.
Do you think it might be getting better, because it seems like more and more Westerners are going over to Japan to teach English because it's an easy way into the country?
Yeah. So I think we should have some time and opportunity to speak at first, because language it always start to speak. So yeah.
You said you do reading and writing, but no speaking.
Yeah.
Do you do listening?
Yeah, we do. We do
quite sometimes. Yeah. Quite.
To be honest, it sounds quite similar to how we would learn in England. I think the issue is that, like I said, nobody takes it seriously in England. It's like a subject you can fail and no one gives a shit. How well do you think Japanese students do at the course? I'm not saying how well can they speak English, but what kind of grades do students get on average? Do a lot of students struggle, or is it something that people pass fairly well?
I think Japanese students have not like any motivation about English class, because Japan is like second biggest economical country. I think now it's second biggest country in the world. So I think almost all Japanese students, like, they can't any reason why they have to speak English or they have to learn English, because Japan is quite a huge country, and we have some a big economical power for the world. So yeah, I think it's quite similar to British one.
Yeah,
nobody cares about.
And in English exam, we can pass easily, because in exam there's just a little portion of listening part, and the major portion of the part is like writing and reading, and we are very good at reading and writing, not speaking. So there are many people who can pass easily. Yeah, there is no speaking part. So yeah, I think if there is a speaking part, many people lose their their score of the exam is gonna be so
It's
bad.
going to plummet.
Yeah.
Does anybody cheat?
Yeah, some people do.
Some
Yeah,
people
sometimes.
or a lot of people?
I think not a lot. In my
Yeah.
school, there's not lots of people. But
I think
how would somebody be able to cheat in an English exam?
Yeah,
Or-
so I think there's no like way to cheat for Japanese people each other because nobody knows about English. Yeah, but I think we have some friends who always cheat on English class, like for example, just remember the English word and phrases, you know.
Yeah.
So if you remember that, you can make some points from the test. So. Yeah.
There are some.
Did you not have people writing like all the words on their arms? Just read off that.
And also, my friends did write on the paper, and
some people do.
Yeah, and the paper, and a teacher and realized he had a cheating paper, and he just eat the paper and.
Oh God!
Yeah, and he can.
Tabimasu.
Yeah, tabimasu, and he could make it. Yeah, he's success.
So again, I don't know what it's like these days, but when I was in high school, everybody cheated on the language exam.
Everybody.
Yeah, so in England, everybody cheated, and it was almost as if the teachers were trying to facilitate teaching in any way they could. Facilitate means like make it easier to cheat.
Wow.
So if they could do something which wasn't directly helping you, but wasn't preventing you from cheating, it was fine. So one example of this is in our French writing test. We knew what the questions were ahead of time. We had like 10 questions and we had to write a couple sentences for each one. That was the test. And everybody was allowed a dictionary, which is fine. Because you're just looking at words, you're not using the dictionary for grammar. That's the idea. So every student is allowed a dictionary, except the dictionaries are kept on a shelf, right? And there's one for every single classmate. So what you were able to do as a student was go into the classroom before the lesson. You knew the questions, so you would have already prepared your answers. You would write them down on paper. You would fold it up. You would put it in the dictionary. And then you would put it on the shelf. And every student would do that. And every student would know which dictionary was their dictionary. And then you would go into the classroom. Teacher says, it's time for the test. Go get a dictionary. And you'd all go and you'd all take one, right? And then you'd look in your dictionary, see your answers and copy them down. And the teacher would stand there and he would go, oh, I'm not seeing anything. People are just looking in their dictionaries. And then the teacher would do like a walk to the back of the class. And then everybody would close their dictionary and put it down and pretend to write. And the teacher would go, ooh, I'm not seeing anything. And then walk back to the front. Everybody would open the dictionary again.
Wow.
That kind of thing was very prevalent. So that was my French class. That happened there. Now in my German class, my German teacher wasn't as egregious. Egregious means like extreme, as a lot of the other teachers were. So some of the German teachers, when you had your speaking test, you weren't allowed to bring anything in with you. Or no, rather, you could bring in some notes, but you could only look at them at the start of the test, and then you had to fold them up and give them to the teacher. So one German teacher, she would just let you read your notes for your speaking test. Because the German teacher doesn't mark it. She asks the questions, and then you as the speaker, you answer them, but it's recorded, and then the recording is sent to a marker. And so the German teacher will just be like, all right, there's your answers, read them. And then,
what's the point for the test? Like, It's
Well, I think it's a difficult position, really, because if you're a language teacher, you can't have all of your students fail, but at the same time, how do you magically make all of your students care enough to pass? You can't. No one gives a shit about learning the language, so they are doomed to fail. And if they're going to fail anyway, you might as well let them cheat and keep your job. I think it works kind of like that.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what it's like anymore. Chances are, by now, the systems have changed to make cheating less easy, or not even possible.
I see.
But it wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't this way. The funniest story I have of somebody cheating was this lad who sat behind me. So this was his German speaking test. Again, our teacher wasn't as bad as the other ones. You couldn't read off your notes. You had to do it from memory. So she didn't directly help. Anyway, this guy, he knew what the questions were going to be beforehand. He wrote down his answers on a piece of paper. And then he sellotaped, he glued his answers to the back of his leg. So he glued them to the back of his leg, and then he walked into the class, into the test, sat down, crossed his legs so that he could see the words on the back of his leg, and then read his answers off the back of his leg underneath the table. And then the exam finished. He did very well. And he walked backwards out of the test. So he didn't turn around so that the teacher could see. He walked backwards. But the teacher knew. Obviously, the teacher knew what he was doing, and in our next lesson after the test, she made a joke about it. Kind of like, what's his name? I think he was called Matthew or something. It's Matthew was staring very intently at the back of his leg, so almost as if he was reading something off of it. So
it's funny.
It's really kind of shitty. Yeah. I think, fortunately, I don't think anybody values So our high school grades are called GCSEs. That's the qualification you get. I don't think any company or any foreign country will recognize a GCSE in their language.
Yeah, GCSE.
Yeah, it's like a PhD or a master's or a BSc. It's just a qualification. It's what we get at high school. So if you had a German GCSE, I don't think a German company would look at that and say, "Oh, you can speak German." They would expect an A level or a degree. And so, it's like, "Oh, great, you cheated and you got a B. So what? That B is as valuable as an F. No one cares. You don't care, and the company doesn't care. So
I see.
No harm, no foul." But it's good to hear that apparently most people don't cheat, though you could just be saying that to make Japan seem
good. Because even if we couldn't pass the test, it's fine because we have another test to pass. Like there's a first test and a second test we call Tsuishi. And if you couldn't pass the first one, you can try another one and you can get good score and you can have some,
Well, Koichi, your English is very good. I remember being impressed, the moment I first spoke to you. Would you say you found having good English skills has really helped you in business? So, Taro was saying that most Japanese people don't care because, every company they work for, everyone's just going to speak Japanese. But would you say that being good at English has actually helped you in a way that if you hadn't been good at English, you might not have done as well?
Yeah. Actually, I work at the kind of trading company, and I always using English because, my customer and my partner is in other country like Germany or Italy. So if I can speak English, it is so useful and convenient for when I am working. So and also actually, why am I speak more than average English? Because when I was in high school, there's a good teacher and he he teaches not only the reading and writing skills, but also the kind of discussion skills. Like we did a debate in English, so that makes us more more than average, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's good to hear there's at least some people trying.
Yeah.
So other than foreigners who have come over to Japan to teach English, so this is probably more kind of other Asian nationalities like Chinese people and Korean people who have moved to Japan to work. How good does their Japanese tend to be?
I think they can understand what we say, but I think they can't speak English. They can speak Japanese well, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Actually, I went to the Uniqlo today. Do you know Uniqlo, Jordan?
Oh, the shop.
Yeah, the shop. Yeah, clothing
Uniqlo.
shop. Yeah, Uniqlo. I went there and I asked to three staff in Uniqlo, and they were all foreigners, like Chinese. Yeah, they are all Chinese, like 3%. They speak Japanese so well and like a native speaker. So I think people who came to Japan, they can speak Japanese very well. And actually, my friends can speak Japanese and Chinese and English and like a native speaker. So yeah.
I think for Asian people, it's quite good at speaking English, good at speaking Japanese, I think. Yeah, so technically, our grammar is quite similar, especially Korean and Chinese.
Yeah, Korean and Japanese is quite similar, and Chinese is grammar. But Chinese
we both use kanji,
English.
Right?
Yeah.
It's quite easy to understand.
Okay, so I guess you've spoken a lot about how kind of the biggest weakness is that there's no conversational learning in Japanese English teaching. If you could do anything to change the school system with respect to learning English, what would you change? So not just, let's do more conversational stuff. How would you make that work?
Just change our teacher Japanese English.
Well, you need to go find a million.
That's it.
a million English teachers who can also speak Japanese.
Yeah. So if you got some foreign teacher or English teacher, I think students have to speak English or at least have to try to speak English because they can't communicate with the teachers. So yeah, I think that's why it's the best way to improve our English education system.
For me, I'm gonna divide into two parts. First part is reading and writing, and the second part is only speaking. People can't speak Japanese, only people can speak English, and we need to do more conversation things, and
Well, if it were me, because it's so easy to learn Japanese just by watching anime, what I would do is instead of having English teachers, you can just watch English movies all day. That would work, don't you think?
I think actually when I was in university, I learned Chinese as a third language, and my teacher showed us Red Cliff movie in Chinese, about 20 minutes each classes, and it was fun, but actually we couldn't understand any Chinese. So maybe it depends on the level of the level. But that's a good way, I think.
Yeah, when I watch Netflix movie, especially Netflix movie, I watch with English subtitles to keep improving my English skill. And we never speak English at all in Japan, so I think it's a good way to keep my English skill.
Actually, my friend is from Malaysia, and she can speak English very well. And I asked her, and did you learn English? And she said, "Oh, I just watched the English movie and that's it." And I think the movie and maybe for Japanese, like anime is best way to learn another language.
Yeah.
Because
the only Japanese I learned from anime was Takeshimita.
And Takeshimita.
What is that?
And also, what's the phrase?
Yeah.
That's my favorite one.
I think we're good there. I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
Is it?
Do you have a bit of Japanese to teach me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have some.
Exciting.
So, it's time to learn something Japanese.
Yep.
You, Jordan. So in Japanese, funny phrases. When you eat something quite delicious food, you say in English, you say you fall out your cheek, cheek, hoppe.
Yeah, I think I've seen that, but
it makes you fall your cheek. It means in Japanese we say hoppeta ochiru. In Japanese, it means quite delicious. So hoppeta ochiru.
Hoppeta ochiru.
Hoppeta means cheek.
Hoppe. Yeah.
Hoppe
means cheek.
Yeah, I did know ho means cheek actually. Ho. So it's ho and then ho.
Yeah, ho.
Ho and hoppe.
Yeah,
and
ho.
Hoppeta is all the same.
Okay.
Yeah, same name. Yeah. Hoppeta.
Hoppeta.
Ochiru means fall.
Hoppeta ochiru.
Yeah.
I
think we have Yeah, I think we have a similar phrase, but not really. So like something the children will often do is they will like shovel as much food into their mouths as they can before swallowing. And so they'll just fill their mouth with food. And then they will push the food like into their cheeks. And then they will chew and chew and chew and eventually swallow. But like instead of just having one forkful or one spoonful, chew, swallow, and repeat. So spoon, 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 chew, 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 swallow. And so when somebody does that in English, there's not like a set phrase, but we would say you are eating like a hamster.
I see.
But I don't quite get it. So the phrase literally means your cheeks are full, but you say it to mean it's delicious.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Cool. Well, that's another one in the list. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, Koichi.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan.
And thank you again, Taro.
Thank you.
Okay, see you at the next episode, guys.
See you later.